Hey ladies, it is Imani. I'm back with an update. A lot has happened, and so I'm going to catch you up. If you've checked out the thumbnail on this video, you will see that I have my IVF calendar, and I'm ready to share the first part of it. Um, so I will backtrack to the last time I did a video, which was about a few weeks ago. Um, Weight update 236, I think I was, or around that. As of this morning, still 236. There are some reasons why, partly because I've been slacking a little bit. Definitely on a mission to tighten up starting tomorrow. Oh, excuse me. But I think there's some other things that came into play that, contributed to why my weight has been about the same for the last couple of weeks. So, last time we talked, I went and I had my saline sonogram as part of my IVF cycle starting and doing some evaluations, making sure that there was nothing in my uterus that would interfere with a baby being able to implant. And they found a polyp. So I was waiting to hear back from my doctor to see, if this was going to stop my cycle, if they wanted to take it out, what was going on. So the next day, I sent a message through the online portal and asked if someone could get in contact with me. The nurse said that the doctor had just gotten the information or the scan results late the previous afternoon, so she hadn't had a chance to look at it yet, and that they would call me as soon as she did get a chance to look at it. So my nurse called me and said that they did want to take the polyp out. She said that I use Shady Grove Fertility. They're a pretty big fertility clinic, and they have a lot of locations, and they also have their own surgery center. So their surgery center does do what they call polypectomies by doing a hysteroscopy, which is, putting a camera through the cervix and using some scissors to cut away at whatever the growth is. She said that it wasn't going to affect my cycle. It wasn't going to change any dates because they pretty much don't consider there to be a recovery time with it. So she basically said that they were going to schedule me, but I'm kind of on a wait list. So I was waiting for the surgery center to kind of see how many slots they had open. And then she said I'd get like 2 days notice in advance of when I need to go in and get it done. So that was, yeah, the next day after I talked to you. And so I'm waiting. The week goes by, and then on last Thursday, I get a call from my nurse saying, "Great news, we can do the procedure tomorrow at 2 o'clock." So I had to run to my boss, and thank God, like right now, I'm in a place where they're very accommodating and trying to make room. And there really wasn't room in the schedule for me to be off, but they just went short staffed and they allowed me to be off to go and get it done. So I went to the Rockville. I live in the metropolitan area, Washington, D.C. Went to the Rockville Surgery Center. Got there about 12:30. They checked me in. They weighed me. I got on that old-fashioned scale. And yeah, theirs said 236, and I was like, okay. So that kind of validated that my scale at home, which is digital, is about the same, which is good because I always question whether I can really trust that scale. So I like to kind of match it up against other ones whenever I get an opportunity to. But so yeah, it is what it is. But I'm still proud of where I'm at, and I have a couple weeks to go, which I'll get to with the calendar, that I do want to drop some more before we actually go in to start doing the injections. But so get the IV in. That's all good. Waited around for about an hour. Doctor came in, you know, kind of scared me at first because he was saying like, oh, you know, I hear that you might have a polyp and we'll look, you know, but sometimes there's false scans and sometimes there's nothing in there, we might not find anything. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, if I have to go through all of this, like, you better find something. Like, I want it looking pristine in there, because my concern is, like, what if you just weren't looking right, or in the right area, or whatever. You know, human error can happen. And I did remember that the nurse who did the saline sonogram said that the saline kind of stretched my uterus out, and they might not have even seen the polyp because of where it was if they hadn't stretched it out. So I'm like, I hope that you all, I did some research, and I know that they do use saline in the same sonohystogram, but at the same time, I'm like, you better find something. I took off work, you're putting me under anesthesia, like, okay, let's find something. So they wheel me back, put your legs in the stirrups, and, you know, I had been watching a video with this other woman. She was talking about, like, how vulnerable it is to be put under and have your legs in the air, and it's like a whole nother level of violation. So my legs are in the air, and I'm sitting there, and they put the, you know, I guess like a gas or oxygen mask on me, and they're moving all around, and I'm like, please put me out, like, please. And they're like, is she asleep yet? Is she asleep yet? Talking to each other. And then the other one's like, no, not yet. I didn't do anything yet. And they're just like, oh, when's the doctor coming? They're making small chat, and I'm like, my legs are in the air. I'm anxious as hell. I have really good blood pressure. My blood pressure is always exactly normal. It was through the roof. And I'm like, because I'm anxious, you got my legs in the air, I'm all exposed, and y'all are talking, and I don't know when you're going to put me out. Like, just put me out. So then I could start to, like, I don't know, I started to, like, smell a weird smell in the mask. And then I felt myself kind of going drowsy, which was really weird. And then I woke up in the recovery room. They said they did find a little polyp. It was very small. They took it out. I had a little bit of bleeding. It kind of was like a period. Like, I have bad periods, like pain-wise, cramp-wise, and it was kind of just like that. I didn't bleed much. It was more, I would call it spotting for about 3 days. And then it's cleared up. So yeah, during that time, I did not work out. And so that's what I'll say. I did not work out. When I woke up from anesthesia, I had, there's a restaurant called Moby Dick in this area. And it's actually Mediterranean food. You'd think it was, I mean, seafood, but it's mainly like, I might be saying the wrong culture, so forgive me, don't come for me. But it's more like, you know, Greek food. Lamb and chicken, kebabs, and then they have hummus and rice. And so I did have rice, and I had hummus with the bread. I was like, hey, I came out of anesthesia. That was the only thing I ate that day because we did fast. I did fast. And then over the weekend, I kind of allowed myself to cheat a little bit. So I didn't gain anything, but I haven't lost anything. So at this point, I'm really like, okay, playtime's over. You're recovered. You're doing well. That was Friday. This is now Wednesday, July 15th. So yeah, like it's time to get back to normal. I did work out last night. Tonight I worked my part-time job, and I work it again tomorrow night. So the next night I could possibly work out would be Friday, and I definitely will be doing that. I'm back on track. I've been struggling with fasting. I was doing 1 meal a day. I've been struggling with that. So my goal tomorrow is to do 1 meal a day. Like, I need to mentally do it to tell myself and let myself know that I can do it again. It was such a mental hurdle before I started doing it, but it's so easy, I'm seeing, to mentally get out of it. I thought that it would be easy just to kind of play around with my eating window, but I'm realizing, like, for me, like, it's kind of all or nothing. I don't have an in-between. And I think I'm that way with everything in life. I'm either going to procrastinate and not do it at all, or I'm going to do it all the way, and then I'm going to hold myself to it. So, excuse me. I'm sorry. I did something bad this evening, and I had some of my husband's Popeye's chicken sandwich, I nibbled it. So, and I feel like it's right here because I don't eat that anymore. So I can feel it. And it wasn't that good. And it was salty. And it didn't taste anywhere near what everybody was raving about before. I don't think they're making it the same anymore. But yeah, so I'm back on track tomorrow. Don't worry. Don't think I'm falling off the wagon. Like, I've got this. Eye of the Tiger is back. So let's get to my calendar. Now, again, for Shady Grove, they don't give you the entire calendar. You just kind of get phases. So I'll go over the calendar and then I'll kind of talk about what I've done with the clinic so far in terms of trying to get ready and what's next. So I started my birth control on July 5th. It is now July 15th. So I'm still on birth control and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 days left of birth control. I'm still a little bit salty about how long I'm on this birth control. But I think that because I've heard that clinics like to schedule people in batches to do certain things so that the surgery centers are like, mainly you're doing this that day, mainly they're doing, or retrievals or transfers. So they try to batch people together. So I think that's what they did to me. Like, nobody can tell me anything else between that and getting ready for insurance and prior authorizations. Like, there was no reason for you to put me on this while I'm birth control. But I digress. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna let it go. So Tuesday, July 28th is gonna be my last day of birth control. Wednesday, July 29th, I'm gonna go in for my baseline ultrasound. And then 3 days later, August 1st, I'm going to start Gonal F and Menopur. Okay. So then at that point, I'll go back in 4 days after that on August 4th and do my first ultrasound just to see how things are going and do my first batch of blood work. So that is pretty much, I don't know if you can see, but this is what my calendar looks like. I think it's coming out backwards because of my camera. But yeah, so I think once that happens and I've gotten my ultrasound and my blood work and they kind of know how I'm responding to the medication, then I'll get the next part of my calendar. I'm kind of frustrated. Like, I wanted the whole thing. I've seen people get the whole thing and I wanted to see how that's gonna play out. So yeah, I have amazing coverage at work. I'm very blessed to only have to be responsible financially for 10% of whatever IVF costs. So I was asked to put down a deposit based on that 10%. So that was $894, which is a pretty good deal to be able to do this. I know that a lot of people have to take out loans and pay and or do the shared risk programs or get in on studies to try and save and scrimp and things like that. And I don't have to do that. So I'm very fortunate and I'm very appreciative. I realize like what a blessing this is. It's part of the reason I let my job frustrate me and don't, know that I can't go out the door right now. Not till I have my children. But yeah, I'm very appreciative. So I paid my deposit. So that is done. And then they set me up with Freedom Pharmacy. And I did the call with them yesterday, gave them all my insurance information. They're supposed to be running it, gave them my payment information. I put money on my WageWorks FSA card. So that was another thing that I've been really, fortunate to do. And, it's been a blessing because I don't have to scrounge up or wonder how much it's going to cost. I know that I put a good amount on that card and that I can use that for my medication expenses. So yeah, I'm just waiting for that. I set up the delivery for that to go to my job next Friday. So I will be at work and I'll be able to accept it. I work in a residential program, so I'm at a house. So it makes it easy to accept that. And I can, make sure that I don't have to be home or take off. I can get it refrigerated and then I can get it home fairly easily. So yeah, that's basically what's going on right now. I'm really anxious to get started. One thing I did think of is, they went over the medications that I was gonna have to be taking, and then they said one of them is a suppository, and I don't know why, but I always was under the impression that it's an either or thing with the suppository. Like, you're either gonna take progesterone as a suppository or you're going to take the progesterone and oil shots. I didn't realize that there'd be something down there, and then how long I'd be taking it. So now I'm like really thinking about how long I'm going to have to deal with that. And a lot of people don't talk about that. So it might be something that I talk about as I go further into that part of it, because I think that, I guess we shy away from it because we don't want to think about it, or, it's gross and it's embarrassing. But at the same time, it's like understanding how much goes into this process and how much you have to give up of your body and just the normalcy. And then it just makes you kind of think about, well, why do I have to go through all of this to do something that other women can do by accident? Or do intentionally just by thinking and doing a couple of acts with their husband, and then that's it. There's no financial commitment, there's no time commitment in terms of sacrificing work, sacrificing health, injections, it's a lot. And I don't think when I started it a few years ago, I was in a place to do it. So I kind of feel like everything happens for a reason, and I've been ready to make this transformation in terms of my health right now for a reason, and I've been financially making moves and got my license, and I'm just in a better place overall in my life. So I think it's a good time to do this, but I am kind of now acknowledging the magnitude of what this is going to mean. I'm still excited and I'm really eager to go forward, but then I'm kind of like, okay, I need to take this one step at a time and stay measured. So yeah, this video is longer than usual for me, but I hadn't been on in a while, and a lot has happened and a lot is going on. And so, my goal is to come back every step of the way when there's something to report. I don't want to just be on here spewing nothing, but I want to give you guys an update. It is good news. We are moving forward. My uterus is free of polyps, and we're charging forward. And so probably the next time you'll see me is when it's time for me to go in for my, now I already forgot, my baseline blood work after July 29th. So ladies, I hope everything's going well for you. If you're on a fertility journey, just know that you're not alone. And other than that, I will see you when I see you. Bye.